Monday morning when I got in my little truck, put it in drive, it would only go in fourth gear. It would go in reverse and it would go in neutral. And it would go in drive, but only in fourth gear. Found out this means that it's in limp mode, and the most likely cause is a bad solenoid pack. I took it to a mechanic and he said the code that was popping was a reverse solenoid. Told me that we couldn't just change out that, and you have to change out the whole pack, and it's just not as easy as it used to be, and with the mileage on this truck, I might as well just rebuild the transmission, and that he could do it in 3 days and it would only cost me $2,800. I thought, I don't see that happening right now. So I did some more research and figured that I could probably tackle this on my own. Not that I really wanted to, but I can. So after a series of wrong parts and misunderstandings, I think I finally got the right parts, thanks to Mitchell's transmission. And we're going to get started doing this truck. And I'm going to start with disconnecting the battery, and it uses a 10mm socket. So that's loose. And this next part is actually what I think is going to be the hardest part of all of it, because you got to get that little switch that's right up there. You got to slide those two little red things down. You got to move that bar, the white bar, kind of forward and down, and then pop that whole switch off in that generous amount of space that they provided in there, because clearly the engineers are not the ones who are going to be working on these things. So there's no way I can do this and film it. So I'm going to put y'all down for a minute. That little bread piece kind of slid down easier than I thought it would. But maybe it's not all the way down, because I can't get this white thing to come forward like I thought it was supposed to. This is actually the part I was dreading the most, because I have fought with these little doohickeys before. And so far I've never broke one, but they're always a battle. Stand by. So you got to get that red clip right here all the way down so it can release this white thingy right here. Like that. And then some way figure out how to get in there and pry that switch loose from that plug. Remind me when I meet these engineers to give them a good swift kick. Pretty sure they design inboards too. I'm not sure, but pretty sure. Let me see if I can figure this out. Hold on. I'm going to save you the agony of watching this entire fight, but basically you're trying to get that switch off of this little thing right here, and it's not in an easy spot to work on, and I've got it a little bit going, but it's going to take me a hot minute to get this sucker off. I actually can see it better looking at it through the phone because you can't really get your noggin up there to work on it. So I've got it started here a little bit, and I'm just going to keep fooling with it till I can get that switch off of there without damaging it, because we're not replacing that thing. I think I just called it a switch. It's a plug. And it likes it there. Love these things. So I'm not a big fan of admitting defeat, but that stupid little plug that lives up there, can't even see it now, got the best of me. I got it loose, I got the tab down, I got the little white bar down, and the little plug thing is just, I can't get my hand around it to get it up off of what it plugs onto. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop the pan, and in my mind, I can pull that plug out from the bottom since the tab and the bar are loose. So let's see if we can do this without making a gigantic mess. I'm going to use an 8mm socket to get this joker off, and I've got a tub under here to catch the stuff, and hopefully it's not going to get on me. So the natural born geniuses that designed this thing put a pipe right under where you got to drop the pan. So in the video that I studied that made me think I could do this myself, Mr. Clarence wrapped that pipe in a plastic bag to keep the fluid off of it, because evidently it takes a while to burn off. I don't know. I'm still learning this stuff. So I got that wrapped and got some of the bolts loosened, but I'm going to go ahead and loosen the rest of them. It's not dark enough outside that you can't see, but it's dark enough under the truck that I can't see. So I'm going to put everything away and give it a shot again in the morning. That one thing. I think a little short pry bar kind of thing. I have one, but it's 1.5 feet long, and there's not enough space in there to use it. So like a miniature version of that. Probably could get that plug off. Maybe the pry bar fairy will come tonight while I'm sleeping. Who knows? The truck, they said. It will be fun, they said. It's a good thing I love this thing so much. But I just don't want to give the mechanics the kind of money they want. So we're back under here, and we're going to try to get this pan down and get this thing done. Not sure what all that is. I don't even want to think about it. I will worry about that later. But let's get this done. I, of course, had to try one more time at that ridiculous switch. That thing's in a difficult spot, and it's hard to get off. Not switch, plug. But, anyways, I forgot to mention safety glasses. My good friend Larry at Pablo Creek Marine insisted that I wear safety glasses the whole time we were working on the boat. And with good reason. I won't say that I had stuff fall into my eyes before I put them on, but maybe. So make sure you have your safety glasses on, and I like to keep all of my stuff, all my bolts and pieces that come off, safe and together, so I know exactly which ones came from where and they go back where they belong. I'm a little weird that way, but it works for me. I've got my handy dandy YouTube video with Terrence. I think I might have called him Clarence yesterday. Dude knows what he's doing, and props to him for his video. And yeah, let's go. My goal, by the way, is not to be wearing transmission fluid. Let's see if that works out for me. So I've got all the bolts out except for those two and that little dude right down there. Got my pan in place. And, you know, let's see what happens. I don't know that I can do the phone and do this at the same time, but I will surely admit if I'm covered in transmission fluid. So theoretically, all I should have to do is kind of pry here somehow and release the beast. Yeah, sure. It all looks so easy in the other pictures. Let's see here. Well, it's already ambitious. It's wanting to leak a little bit over here. But I'm going to have to pry it down a little bit different. I'll stand by. We'll just say that I have done things more gracefully than this particular thing. I did get it to come loose with only minimal fluid on my arm here. But, as you can see, not much landed. Well, I guess more landed in the pan than didn't, but good night. Looks like a murder scene under here. I don't know what I was thinking. Kids, get a good college education. Just gonna tell you that now. This thing is still draining, and I am trying to figure out how I'm going to manage all this. Luckily, I have a surplus of cardboard in the garage. I just wanted to say, you can get a fine job without a college education. I have one. I didn't feel like spending the ridiculous amount of money that the transmission shop wanted. And so I thought, I could do this. Not a big deal. It's still a ridiculous amount of money that they want. But, this is not for the faint of heart. I've got this pan dropped, and assuming that's the magnet that's supposed to collect shavings, it had some very, very fine, powdery stuff, metal-looking stuff, maybe not even an eighth of an inch thick on it. And I wiped that off, and there's nothing wrong with this fluid. Can't even imagine this thing needed to be rebuilt. Hopefully, this solenoid will fix the issue. Alright, so we kind of got a hot, drippy mess going over here. It's been sitting here for a good 15 minutes or so. My neighbor just came over and let me know that somebody was getting into our cars last night. And I looked in mine, and sure enough, because I hadn't looked in it today because this one wasn't working. And sure enough, somebody's been in the truck last night and gone through everything and taken money out of some envelopes and stuff. And I just love these people. Just bless their little hearts. Anyway, I'm going to try to wipe some of that down. We got to get that filter off next. It's got one Torx 20 bolt, which I found out from little brother. That's just a little star bolt looking thingy. I got that in my hand right here, and hopefully this all goes a little more gracefully than the last step. Although that valve body looks a little heavier. Alright, stand by. So that simple little bolt that is in the filter that has to come out before the valve body can come down is over a pipe that this cannot fit in. So I guess you have to have one of those ratchets with a smaller thingy right here, because this one has to have a thing to adapt to the smaller thing, to adapt to this, to tap to the T-Rex, and I know that's wrong, the Torx thing. Patience. It will all work out. If you learn nothing from my video and decide to do this yourself, get a ratchet with a small, the 1/4 inch little square thing that you hook other things to. That's my formal terminology there. Because the clearance between this little doohickey and this bar is not enough for the extensions required to go from a 3/8 inch to the adapter to the Torx thing to go in that hole to get that bolt out, which is going to keep me from getting this entire valve body off. Luckily, the neighbor had one, so let's see if we can get this off. Guess what? Guess what? For your entertainment value, it's not focusing. I don't know why it's not focusing. But the little one won't fit up in there either. There's not enough clearance. When I get done with this, me and all my tough girlfriends are going to get together and we're going to redesign this thing, this whole thing right here, all of this, inboard motors, maybe some parts of the outboard motors, these little things that are dang near impossible to work on, we're going to fix these things. Standing by again. Face off with my nemesis. I'm thinking there's an Allen wrench looking thing that I need for this application, and the ones I have are not the correct shape. I could be completely wrong on this, but we grow weary of trying. I'm not sure what I was thinking. Quite possible I've lost my ever-loving mind, but now this thing is a part in my driveway, so I've got to figure it out. So I've got the work area cleaned up a little bit here, got new cardboard to get more transmission fluid on, but maybe a little bit less on me. It was everywhere. The fluid's been leaking down overnight, so I'll have to clean that kind of up again. Now that we've got that filter off, this part should go pretty smoothly. I shouldn't have even said that. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm going to climb back under here and give it a shot. Stand by. This little switch continues to drive me nuts. I really want it off before I drop this valve pan. I don't want it just dangling there for me to have to deal with. So I'm going to try a couple more things. Why would they put it in such an awkward place? Engineers, I tell you. Okay, so this switch that has been driving me nuts. I was afraid if I dropped the valve pan that this thing would still be dangling, and I'm thinking I would have been right. That white bar has got to go all the way down. I don't know if you can see it now that I've pushed it down, and it's scary to push it down because there's little white tabs on the side that look like they might break. And it's not easy. I'm laying on my stomach and reaching both arms up with a little miniature screwdriver to push that thing down. And that red tab there in the middle has to be down in the position that it's in now. There's little ears over here that have to slide through an opening, and it would have been a disaster, I think, if I would have got that valve body dropped and hanging from that and trying to figure that out. So I'm going to try to pull this thing off now, and I'm probably going to just kick myself right square in the you-know-what for not having noticed this one little detail, 2 days ago. Stand by. I just kind of want to show you now that it's unlatched properly. The thing is wiggling and moving up. It's not easy, but setting for just $100 a month. Or how about $3,000 diamond stud earrings, only $50 a month? Get the guaranteed best price Beard's jewelry is known for, and spread your payments. We're making progress. With zero interest and nothing down. In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com. Hold on. Thank the Lord that plug is loose. Lord have mercy. I don't even know what to say. Gracious. Alright, now I feel better about dropping this valve pan. This whole thing, the whole part there had me nervous that it was just going to be hanging by that thing. And my gut instinct kept telling me to go back and take care of this. And I'm pretty glad I did, because it would have just been dangling. That white bar has got to be all the way down. Halfway down ain't going to cut it. It's not going to move a bit. Trust me on this. There's been a ridiculous amount of time involved in figuring out that it won't work. Alright, stay on. So I kind of got this wiped up a little bit. And it looks like a bunch of stuff you got to take out of here. But the ones that are holding this valve body to this truck, or to this housing anyhow, or transmission, I don't know the proper terms, as you've probably realized by now, but we're still going to do this. These ones that are kind of more pronounced, that look like they're substantial and hold fantastic transmission fluid in the These that look like they're doing something are the ones that you want to take off, and it looks like they fit the same 8mm. You know, you'd think I'd learn once. Get that spot right there. It doesn't taste that bad. Yeah, so I'm not going to torture you with watching this whole process, but I'm going to take these out and try not to drink any more transmission fluid. Hopefully it's not super toxic. I'll be back. Stand by. Alright, so I got all the bolts out of this thing. And I'm getting ready to try to gracefully drop this. Let's see if we can get this down. Alright, so I know this thing's got a little weight to it. Thank you to Mr. Terrence's. Oh, it's not just this silver thing, it's this whole thing under here. I'm not having the suction problem with it. Oh, it is heavy. Alright, that's fine. That's cool. And blessing me with more transmission fluid. I'm really starting to like the feel of transmission fluid on my skin. That might be an exaggeration. Exit strategy. I guess we're just coming. This is not going to be graceful. Yeah, sure. Make it graceful. Alright. How much goo do you have left in there, bud? It is heavy. That ain't no lie. I have no idea how I'm going to get this down. So since somebody called while I was lowering that down, I'll just let you know that I balanced it up here. I think you saw where I was able to get both of my hands on the same side and kind of drop it down, scooted that pan over, and just laid it down on the cardboard beside the pan. And that way I can just scoot it out. It's not super heavy, but it's heavy enough where I'm thinking getting it back up there is going to be a little bit of fun, but I'm determined, and I will find a way. Stand by. Oh, there's the offending piece right there. All of that to get to that. And I think I need to change that filter. I'm pretty sure that's the other filter I need to change, that barrel-looking thing up there, which, all things considered, that looks delightful. So, standing by again. So that's the whole valve body there. This is the solenoid that hopefully is what is wrong, otherwise I might just completely lose my mind. The screws that have to come out are on this side, obviously. Turn it around where I can look at the ones that I need to deal with. There's a bunch of them on here, but only like 15 of these jokers over here need to come out. I'm going to wipe it down and get a new one here. So I'm just going to try to mark the ones that I need to take out like Terrence suggested. And it should just fall out. I'm pretty excited that my one step of this, my electric drill actually had this Torx bit that I could use. It wouldn't work up under the truck, so I did it all with a little ratchet handle thingy. You don't need to watch all this. But all of these right here in this kind of little square area all have to come out. And of course I have a little bag to put them in because my friend Larry at Pablo Creek taught me some good habits taking apart stuff. Just let me get this all out and we'll come back. That was actually pretty quick, so theoretically that thing should fall out just like it just did. Clean this up a little bit, and we'll just reverse the process there. Alright, so it's cleaned off. Maybe not as good as Terrence's was, but there's so much oil and stuff on this thing. And the new one's full of oil. There's no way to put this thing on wrong. There's like no guessing going on here. It can only go that way. There's two little guideposts that put it in there. There's some oil inside that plug. I'm not sure if that offends me or not. I may have to Google that to see if it offends me, to be honest. It's not all the way down in its little... There we go. Some of that oil will drain out during this process. So everything's all lined up. I'm just going to put all the screws back in. Fastest part of the entire thing is just getting to it. Lord, who designed these things? Probably the same dude that made high heels and underwire bras. Not sure. Like I said, installing this part was the quickest part of this whole process. It's in, I've tightened all the torque screws, and now I'm going to crawl back under and change that one little filter that's left, and then see if we can't get this thing back up there. Here's the new filter. There's the old one. I pulled the drip pan out already, which should pretty much guarantee that joker holds a gallon of transmission fluid. Perfect world scenario, it's going to be finger tight, and I can just, just loosen up like this, but it's not a perfect world. Because I want to crawl out from under here again and get my filter wrench. So, stand by again. So my normal size filter wrench didn't work, but my neighbor Josh had one. A little bit smaller, with a couple layers of paper towels. I was able to loosen this thing, and as predicted, it's holding 52 gallons of fluid. So I'm gonna get a drip pan before I pull it all the way off. I've never had so much fun in my entire life. Maybe I'll do this again next week. I don't even know if you can see that right now. As you get it loose, it's pretty easy to take out. There's nothing not messy or graceful. I've got allergies really bad, if you wonder why I sound like this. Nothing about this entire So I got the old filter off and the new one back on, and I'm going to put this valve body back on. Well, my intent is to put the valve body back on. I'm thinking, little brother's suggestion, put a couple of key bolts in the corners with one hand while the other hand holds it up, and we should be good. Let's see how that works for me. Just so you can see what I did, I basically just got my whole body under here, and I had to push up real hard here because that's where that plug goes in, up here on the top. And then I put that one in, and then I think, yeah, then this one, and then this one I kind of had to, wiggle this around a little bit to get it lined up, which is why you don't ever want to tighten anything you're doing, whether it be a tire or a head gasket on your boat, or this delightful little valve body on your truck. So it stopped a little bit ago. I don't even remember where it stopped, but I'm just going to tighten these bolts up and kind of in a pattern. You don't want to go all in order. You want to kind of crisscross like you do your tires or anything else. I'm missing one up there, I think. Huh. Alright. So that's what I'm going to do. Semi. Alright. I wasn't missing one. There's a couple of holes that are deceiving, like that one and that one that didn't actually have any. I just saw holes and panicked, thinking that I lost a couple of bolts, and I'm thinking, with the anal retentive nature I have, how could I have done that? But I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this back up, and I don't know if we'll be able to get the pan back on tonight, but I'm going to try. There's 6 of these. And I'm pretty sure you're supposed to torque these on. But I don't own a torque. I don't own a torque wrench. And common sense tells you get them tight enough, they're not going to come out, but you don't want to snatch their little heads off. And they aren't going to make these things that weak anyways. So, just work your way around. Don't tighten any one side more than another until you kind of get a star pattern. Well, you can't really do a star on here, but basic idea. You don't need to suffer through all this torture. So, I'll turn it off for the next couple of minutes until I get ready to get the pan going. Alright, you can't probably see it very good, but they're all tightened down. You wouldn't be able to tell that from the video anyways. But I'm going to crawl out from under this thing and look at the transmission, the pan, and see how stuck the gasket is, because that thing has to come off before we put the new one on. I was most scared about this valve body. I think the pan's going to be a little easier. So let's see how that looks. So I've had this covered up. Excuse me, my voice is driving me nuts, probably driving me nuts too. So the leaves and stuff wouldn't get in it. This new gasket's got to go on here, but we got to get the old gasket material off first. It looks kind of shredded and weird looking, like I can see it on here, but it's like smashed out to nothingness. So yeah, it's kind of smashed out to nothingness. So I'm just going to take a little time to make sure this is good and peeled off. You don't want any of that to keep the new one from sticking or making a seal. It's almost like it smashed out to nothing on the metal. It's just this gasket material on the edges. So, anyway, I'll take a few minutes and do that and not torture you with the whole process because I am thorough. Some people call it slow. I prefer to call it deliberate. Anyway, stand by. It is once again dark, and even if I got this clean tonight, I couldn't put it up in there and feel good about it without being able to see good. And unless I take this in the house and clean it under good light, I'm not going to feel good about it. So I'm going to put this all away again and continue on tomorrow morning. So I got a little extra sleep last night. I was exhausted, having this cough and these allergies at the same time because doing this is not exactly helpful. As you can see, all this gasket material here, that's all got to come off. I started to try to do it last night when it was dark. There's no way I would have been happy with whether I got it all off or not. I got this pan clean. And anyway, crawling up under the truck when it's dark, there's no way I could have seen. You just can't do this stuff when it's dark. And when you're tired and coughing all day and stuff. So anyway, back at it today. I'm not going to film this entire process because I'm slow. But we'll come back in a little bit. There's actually a little more gasket material on here than I thought in between. I didn't think there was anything in between this pan and the truck. There's not much. There's a little bit there. It hardly seemed like enough to do anything, but it did. So guess what? In another design genius thing here, there's a groove here. In between each of these screw holes, there's a groove. So the gasket material is smashed down in that groove. Had I not noticed this, I might be okay with it. But now that I know it's there, I feel like I've got to get it out. And I don't know for sure. But any other thing that I've fixed that involved a new gasket, thorough removal of the old gasket was required. So in my mind, that is the only way that this is going to work. And you can get the putty knife up under the edge of it and kind of loosen it up here. But I'm really thinking of making my mom real happy and going and getting a spoon out of the kitchen. My mom's not with us anymore, but she loves when we use kitchen stuff for tools. Anyway, just thought I'd share that next level of fun with you. So I kind of joked about going to the kitchen and getting tools and Mom being mad, but I probably learned that from Mom. My ability to think around the box and my stick-to-itiveness and tenacity, a lot of that came from Mom. She was a pretty tough lady. Kind of just gets it right out. There's still residue left in there that you gotta get out. It'd be a lot easier if it was flat and I could just do it with the putty knife, but why would it be easy now? That would be kind of counterintuitive, I think. So anyway, I'm just gonna go along here and get the rest of this stuff off of here. Get this all cleaned up. I'll be back. Alright, I've got, I think, all the gasket material loose or off, but I'm going to give it a bath with some Dawn dish soap real quick to make sure I don't put anything back up in this transmission that doesn't need to be. You know, lots of pollen, and I love pollen. See all that pollen that's falling in there? And dust, and neighbors are burning, and it's just fantastic. So we're going to give it a Dawn bath real quick and see how it looks and go from there. Alright, hopefully it's going. So we've got to put this little thing on. This is a filter. And the nice thing about every part of this is there is just no doubt or guessing which way something goes or is oriented right. There's a little hole for this thing to go in right up here. The screw, like we discussed earlier, is conveniently located, you know, in this whole space. This whole thing that they could have put a screw to secure this, it had to go right here above this pipe right here. Just make sure that thing is popped in there. Let's go get that screw started and pull. I was just bragging on you fitting. Come on now. Alright, so I had to push this, the body, I don't know if you can see this or not. I had to push this body over just a hair to get that screw started. As you can see, the position of this thing with this, I don't know if you can see where this pipe is. There's just not a whole lot of room in here. Wait till you see this amazing tool. Since I didn't have the right tool that we put together to do this. Yep. My son-in-law brought over this ratchet wrench, and the bit wouldn't quite fit in it, so put a little paper towel in there to kind of cozy it up. Yeah, but it fits where it needs to go. Up in here. I don't know if you can see that or not. And it does a trick. So, stand by. Alright, so there's the gasket laying on the pan. Luckily it only fits one way, so there's no guessing which way goes up or down. There's only one way this thing can go. So theoretically, what I'm thinking, if it does like the valve body, I just am going to hold it up with one hand and put in a couple of key screws with the other hand, and then get the other one started. See, hopefully you can see that right there. That screws on a little bag here. I should probably take that paper towel out right here. And put my safety glasses on, or I'll get transmission fluid in my eyeballs. Or dirt. You pick, whichever. Let's make sure that surface where the gasket goes is kind of rubbed off here. And then I'm done. This is the only time I like this little height up here, because it kind of gives you a spot to rest the pan on. Let's see if one of these will stay in here. Possibly. Nope, it's gonna fall right out. Alright, no biggie. So, I'll just lift this joker up here. And line it up like so. Again, it's nice. There's only one way this thing will go. It's not like a guessing game here. Oh, come on now. That noise you just heard a second ago was that first screw coming out. It didn't quite hang on. It's alright. That other one did. Let's get a couple of these started. There we go. That one. And one over here. So you got the idea that, I don't know where I put my little doohickey. There it is. Let's see if it's set right. It is. So So that pan's at least held up there a little bit. So I can get the rest of the screws in there. And of course you're not going to tighten any one of them down completely. So you get them all in and then kind of do it in a star pattern, just like, you know, anything else that goes, that you're wanting to make sure it gets kind of clamped on there evenly. So I've got 3 screws in there to hold that, or 3 nuts, those things in there, to hold that transmission pan up there. And it's got the gasket lined up where I can see all the screw holes. So I'm just going to put the rest of those in now. So I was just about to give in and use my kitchen funnel to get this transmission fluid in that teeny tiny little hole that it's got to go in. And I remembered, I actually saw it out of the corner of my eye, that I had this spare tube from when I did the hydraulic steering on the boat. So, you know what? I think it'll work just fine. So we're going to give it a try. So you too can revel in my natural born genius. Kind of would suck if I stab myself right here, but I'm not going to. It'll glug out if you don't stab it, but this makes it go a little faster. I took a minute before I started doing this to thank God for all his help and his guidance in getting this done. Anytime I start something like this, I stop and pray and ask him to guide my hands and give me the strength to do the parts that are tough or a way to work around them. And I've done some challenging things on this and on the boat, and he's always brought me through it. He's way too good to us, that's for sure, especially this us. Okay, so everything is connected back. The battery's back connected. I've added 5 quarts of fluid, but the stick is showing over full for cold. So I'm pretty happy it turned on. But I need to just put it in reverse. Okay. Sounded smooth. Neutral. Now when it goes into drive, please don't be in 4th gear. Oh, happy day. I just want to see it one more time. I think it's fixed. Thank God. Now I'm going to just turn it off and check it again. My friend Captain Peanut, who's also known as Wiley, and my little brother have been coaching me through this. I'm just not wanting to do anything wrong at this point. And yeah, my PSI gauge, there's nothing wrong with the tires and the air in the tires. That's just been broken for a long time. I guess ever since I got them changed. No, it broke after I got them changed. Anyways, that's unimportant right now. There was a time in life when we didn't have all these little lights and gauges. We just noticed we had a flat tire if the tire was flat. So, anyways, I just want to see drive one more time. Oh, there's no number 4. I am so happy. Alright, standing by.